The story opens on a cold evening. The wind blows softly through the empty streets, carrying dust and dry leaves with it. Streetlights flicker, some glowing, some dying out. In this quiet and lonely hour, a man named Daniel walks slowly down the footpath. He carries a small brown bag in his right hand. His steps are gentle, almost silent, as if he does not want anyone to notice him. Daniel looks tired. His face shows long days of struggle and sleepless nights. His clothes are simple, an old jacket, a faded shirt, and worn-out shoes, but his eyes are different. His eyes are kind, calm, and full of peace. Anyone who looked at him would think he is a harmless man, maybe a teacher, maybe a worker returning home after a long day. But Daniel's face also hides something, a story no one knows. The evening grows colder. Daniel breathes out white fog as he walks. He pulls his jacket closer to his body, trying to protect himself from the cold. Every few seconds, he looks around quietly, not in fear but with a strange awareness. He seems like a man who is used to watching his surroundings carefully. As he walks, cars pass by at a distance, their headlights cutting through the darkness. People inside the warm cars do not notice him. They do not know that the man walking alone is about to face something unexpected. For Daniel, it is just another quiet night, but fate has other plans. Across the road, two police officers sit in their patrol car. They are tired too, bored from a long shift with no excitement. One of them yawns and says, "Nothing ever happens in this area." The other officer looks outside and suddenly notices Daniel. He squints his eyes and says, "Hey, look at that guy. Why is he walking alone at this hour?" The first officer shrugs. "Maybe he's just going home," he answers. But the second officer narrows his eyes even more. Daniel's calm walk somehow makes him suspicious. "Let's check him," he says. Before the first officer can say anything, the patrol car starts moving toward Daniel. Daniel continues walking, unaware of the police car approaching. When he hears the engine slowing down beside him, he turns his head with a confused look. The police car stops directly in front of him, blocking his way. Daniel stands still as both officers step out quickly. "Sir," one of them shouts. "Stop right there." Daniel freezes. Not out of fear, but confusion. He looks at the officer with gentle eyes and says softly, "Is there a problem, officer?" The officers do not answer. They look at him as if he is hiding something dangerous. One officer approaches him and says in a harsh voice, "Show us your ID." Daniel quietly reaches into his pocket and hands over his small identification card. He does not argue or get angry. His voice stays calm. "Of course. But may I know why you stopped me?" The officer ignores his question. He takes Daniel's ID and walks back to the patrol car to check it on the radio. The moment he reads the name, his face changes. His eyes widen, and he looks at his partner with shock. The partner asks, "What happened?" But the officer stays silent for a moment, as if he cannot believe what he just saw. Meanwhile, Daniel stands quietly on the street. His hands hang gently by his sides. He does not try to run, does not show fear, and does not ask more questions. People passing by begin to slow down and stare at the scene. A few whisper among themselves. Why are the police arresting him? He looks like a nice man. Maybe he did something bad. But Daniel remains calm, like a man who has been through moments like this before. The officer returns and says bluntly, "Sir, you are coming with us." Daniel frowns slightly. "But why? I haven't done anything." "You will know soon enough," the officer replies. He grabs Daniel's arm and pulls him forward. Daniel allows it. He does not resist at all, even though people around him look shocked. One woman says, "Poor man. He doesn't look like a criminal." The officers handcuff Daniel roughly. The cold metal cuffs bite into his skin, but he stays silent. His kind eyes look down. Then something strange happens. When the officer opens the back door of the patrol car, Daniel looks up and gives a small, calm smile. A smile that makes the officer uncomfortable. A smile that says, "I know something you don't." The officer swallows nervously. He cannot understand why a man being arrested would smile like that. He quickly pushes Daniel into the back seat. The door shuts with a loud thud. But before the car moves, the police radio crackles with a sharp sound. A voice speaks urgently. "Unit 24, if you have Daniel Gray, keep him secure. We are on our way. And do not let him out of your sight." The officers freeze. Their hearts pound. They stare at each other with fear. Who is Daniel? Why is his name on a restricted list? And why is someone coming for him? Daniel sits in the backseat quietly. He looks out the window. His eyes are calm, but hold a deep secret. A secret that is about to change everything. The police car moves through the cold night, its red and blue lights flashing softly on the empty roads. Inside the car, the two officers keep looking at Daniel through the rearview mirror. They still cannot understand why his name caused such a reaction on the radio. The message was clear, urgent, and filled with fear. But Daniel sits quietly. His hands remain cuffed, resting gently on his lap. His eyes stay calm. He does not look angry or scared. He simply watches the passing streetlights, as if he has seen much worse nights than this one. After a few minutes, the car reaches the police station. The officers open the door and help Daniel out. One officer holds his arm tightly, but Daniel does not resist. He walks inside slowly, with a dignity that surprises even the officers. Other policemen in the station look at him curiously. "Who's this guy?" one officer whispers. "No idea," his partner replies. "But his ID, something is wrong with it." Daniel is taken into a small interrogation room. It is cold, with a single light bulb hanging above the table. The walls are bare. The air feels heavy, almost suffocating. One of the officers pushes Daniel into the chair. Daniel sits quietly, his hands still cuffed behind his back. The officers step outside to talk. Daniel hears their muffled voices from behind the door. His ID is restricted. Restricted? What do you mean restricted? It means someone powerful doesn't want his information public. Is he dangerous? I'm not sure, but that message on the radio, why would they say keep him secure? Their voices fade. Daniel closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. It is as if he knows this moment would come eventually. A few minutes later, the door opens again. A tall man in uniform enters. His name tag reads Officer Reed. He looks older and more experienced than the others. His face is serious, his eyes sharp. He sits down across from Daniel and studies him silently for a long moment. Daniel does not move. He looks at Reed with calm, gentle eyes. After a heavy silence, Reed speaks. "Who are you?" Daniel gives a small, polite smile. "My name is Daniel Gray," he replies softly. Reed frowns. "Don't play games with me. Your ID is flagged. It's restricted. That does not happen to normal people. So I will ask again. Who are you really?" Daniel lowers his gaze for a moment. Then he looks up and says quietly, "I am no one special, officer. Just a man trying to live a peaceful life." Reed slams his hand on the table. "Don't lie to me. Why is the government interfering in your arrest?" Daniel stays calm even after the loud sound. "Maybe you should ask them," he says slowly. Reed's anger grows. "Why did you smile in the car? Most people panic when they are arrested. But you acted like you knew this was coming." Daniel takes a deep breath. "Because I did." The room becomes silent. Reed sits back slowly. He studies Daniel again, this time with more caution than anger. Something about Daniel's voice, something about his calmness, it feels dangerous, but also full of sadness. "Look," Reed says in a lower tone, "I'm trying to help you. But I need answers." Daniel looks at him with soft eyes. "If I tell you everything, you won't believe me. And you will be in danger." Reed laughs nervously. "Danger? From what?" "From you." Daniel shakes his head gently. "No. From the people who are looking for me." Before Reed can ask more, a loud beep comes from his walkie-talkie. The message crackles through the speaker. "Officer Reed, you need to come to the control room. It's urgent." Reed gives Daniel a long look before standing up. "Don't go anywhere," he says sarcastically, forgetting that Daniel is handcuffed and locked in a room. Reed leaves, and the door closes behind him. Inside the room, Daniel looks around. He seems to be thinking deeply. His calm face hides something heavy, a secret that has followed him for years. He whispers softly, almost to himself, "I hoped they would never find me." Meanwhile, in the control room, panic is rising. Officers crowd around the monitor. Reed pushes through them. "What happened?" he asks. One officer points to the screen. "Look at this." Reed looks, and his eyes widen. Street cameras near the police station show black vans driving in circles. The vans have no license plates. The windows are tinted black. The vans are moving slowly, too slowly, as if searching for something. Reed swallows hard. Are those government vehicles? No, an officer replies. Government cars have tracking numbers. These vehicles are unmarked. Reed's heart beats faster. What do they want? He asks. The officer beside him answers quietly. I think they want the man we just arrested. The room becomes silent with fear. Reed suddenly remembers Daniel's calm smile. His warning. His words, you will be in danger. He does not waste another second. Reed rushes back to the interrogation room. He opens the door quickly, breathing fast. Daniel looks up at him with calm eyes. Reed says, almost out of breath, Daniel, who is after you? Daniel lifts his head slowly, and for the first time, his calm smile disappears. His face becomes serious, his eyes dark. They found me, Daniel says softly. And they are coming here. The officer's face pales. Who is coming? Reed asks. Daniel looks him straight in the eyes. People you cannot fight. Officer Reed stands frozen for a moment. Daniel's calm voice, his serious expression, and the heavy silence in the room make Reed uneasy. He closes the door slowly and steps inside, his eyes fixed on Daniel. What do you mean, people we cannot fight? Reed asks, trying to sound strong, but his voice trembles a little. Daniel lifts his eyes gently, and for a moment, Reed sees sadness behind them, deep sadness. I did not want this, Daniel says softly. I only wanted a normal life. But they will never let me live in peace. Reed sits down across from him, leaning forward. Daniel, listen to me. You need to tell me the truth. My whole station is at risk. Those vans out there, whoever is inside them is not normal. Daniel nods slowly. I know. They are trained. They move like shadows. They don't leave traces. And they follow orders without questions. Reed's heartbeat gets louder. So who are they? Daniel takes a long breath. They are from a group I used to work with, many years ago. A group that works in the dark. A group people don't know exists. Reed frowns. Some secret organization. Daniel doesn't answer immediately. He looks at his cuffed hands instead. His voice becomes quieter. You can call it that. They used to call us ghosts. Because we appear and disappear. No names. No history. No home. Reed watches him carefully. And you were one of them. Daniel nods. But I left, he continues. I left because I could not do it anymore. I wanted a normal life. I wanted peace. But the ghosts do not like when someone leaves. To them, no one leaves. You either stay with them, or you die. Reed feels his mouth dry. His eyes move toward the door, as if he expects the attackers to burst in any second. But why now? Reed asks. Why did they find you tonight? Daniel looks around the room quietly. I think someone reported my presence. Maybe someone recognized me. Or maybe they were already close. I don't know. But once they saw my name in your system, they knew exactly where to come. Reed rubs his forehead in frustration. You mean, your arrest helped them find you faster? Daniel nods again. Yes. Your system is connected to many databases. When you entered my name, they saw it too. Reed curses under his breath. He stands up and starts pacing the room. This is bad. This is very bad. Daniel's calm voice cuts through the tension. Officer Reed, you must leave this place. Take your men and go somewhere safe. Reed stops pacing and turns around sharply. I can't do that. This is my station. My responsibility. Daniel shakes his head. You don't understand. These men do not care who gets hurt. If you try to fight them, they will not hesitate. They are not afraid of consequences. They are not afraid of the law. Reed sits down again, this time quieter. Then what do they want? Just you. Daniel looks into Reed's eyes. Yes. They want me alive. For now. But anyone who tries to protect me becomes their enemy. A heavy silence fills the room. Outside, the sound of a distant engine echoes. Reed stiffens. Daniel tilts his head, listening carefully. They are getting closer, Daniel whispers. Reed jumps to his feet. I need to warn my team. But before he can reach the door, the station lights flicker. For a moment, everything glows, then darkness. The entire police station falls into complete blackness. Someone screams in the hallway. Someone else shouts, "Backup power! Turn it on!" Footsteps rush everywhere. Reed quickly opens the door and steps halfway out, looking around. Officers run in panic. Flashlights switch on. The emergency red lights flicker weakly but give almost no brightness. Reed turns back to Daniel. "Stay here. Don't move." Daniel gives him a small, sad smile. "I told you, tonight is not safe." Reed shuts the door and rushes to the main hall. Officers gather near the control room. "The cameras are down," someone shouts. "We lost all power. I think they cut the main lines." Reed looks at the screens. Every camera is black. No signal. No sound. Then, one officer points at the window with trembling hands. "Sir, look." Reed turns his head. Outside, in the parking lot, 3 black vans stand silently. Their doors open at the same time. Figures dressed in dark uniforms step out. Their faces covered. Their movements quiet, precise, deadly. Reed feels fear crawl into his chest. "They're here," he whispers. The officers pull out their weapons, but Reed knows it won't be enough. He runs back to the interrogation room. Daniel is still sitting calmly, as if he expected all of this. "They have arrived," Daniel says softly. Reed unlocks Daniel's handcuffs with shaking hands. "If they want you, then help us survive this." Daniel slowly stands up. The calmness disappears from his face. His eyes sharpen, becoming cold and focused, like a man waking up an old version of himself. "Listen carefully," Daniel says in a low voice. "Do exactly as I say. Do not try to fight them alone. Stay together. Stay quiet. Move fast." Reed nods. Daniel steps forward, his voice firm now. "They came for me. But tonight, they will not get what they want." The police station is dark and tense. Red emergency lights flicker weakly, casting shadows on the walls. Officers whisper nervously, holding their guns tightly. Every footstep outside makes them jump. Reed's heart pounds in his chest. He glances toward the interrogation room. Daniel is standing calmly, almost like a shadow in the dim light. "They're close," Daniel says softly, his voice cold and serious. "I can feel them." Reed steps closer. "How do we stop them? There are too many of them, and we have no power." Daniel looks at him, eyes sharp. "We don't fight them with guns. We survive. Follow my lead, and stay quiet." Before Reed can ask more, a loud crash echoes from the front of the station. The main entrance shakes as someone tries to break it down. Officers freeze, their hands trembling. Daniel walks toward the door slowly, deliberately. "Stay back," he commands in a calm but firm voice. "If you interfere, you get hurt." A group of masked men suddenly appears at the broken door. They are dressed in black, moving with precision. Their faces are hidden, and their eyes are dangerous. Reed's officers raise their weapons, but the masked men do not panic. They move silently, circling the room, looking for Daniel. Daniel takes a deep breath. His movements are quiet, calculated. He steps in front of the officers, his eyes scanning every corner. "Listen," he whispers. "Do exactly as I say. No sudden moves. We move together." The attackers advance. Daniel steps forward and grabs a metal pipe from the floor. In a swift motion, he strikes the first attacker, knocking him to the ground. The other men hesitate for a moment, shocked by Daniel's speed and strength. He moves with skill, blocking and dodging their attacks. Reed watches in disbelief. The man they arrested, the man they thought was ordinary, is fighting like a trained soldier. One attacker lunges at Daniel with a knife. In a single movement, Daniel twists and disarms him. The knife clatters on the floor. Another attacker swings a bat, but Daniel ducks and knocks him out with a precise strike. Reed realizes that Daniel is not just any man, he is someone with years of experience, someone who has faced danger countless times. Amid the chaos, Daniel yells to the officers, "Follow me. We escape through the emergency exit." Reed quickly gathers his men. They follow Daniel silently, trying not to make any noise. The masked men pursue them, but Daniel is faster. He knows the layout of the station better than anyone, anticipating every move. Finally, they reach a small emergency exit at the back. Daniel opens the door and signals everyone to move outside. The night air hits them. Cold, dark, but safer than the chaos inside. The masked men stop at the doorway, unwilling to leave the building. Outside, Daniel leads the officers toward a hidden alley. He moves silently, checking every corner, every shadow. Reed notices the determination in Daniel's eyes. There is no fear, only focus, only a will to survive. They won't give up, Daniel says quietly. They want me. But we are not their target tonight. We are distractions. Stay alert. Suddenly, headlights shine from the street. More black vans appear, circling the alley. Reed's officers panic. They're surrounding us, one shouts. Daniel stops and turns to them. Calm down. Stay close to me. Do exactly what I say. He leads them through a narrow path behind the buildings, where the vans cannot follow. His movements are swift but careful. Every step is calculated. Reed cannot believe how calm and controlled Daniel is in this situation. After a tense few minutes, they reach a safe spot, a small hidden courtyard behind an abandoned building. Daniel motions for everyone to hide. Stay quiet. Watch the exits. They are looking for me, not you. Reed kneels beside him. Who are you, Daniel? What are you really? Daniel looks at him, eyes softening for a moment. I was part of a secret agency, he says quietly. We worked in the shadows, saving lives, eliminating threats before anyone knew. But I left. I wanted a normal life, a peaceful life. I thought I could escape. I was wrong. Reed swallows hard. That explains why you were calm, why you fought so well. Daniel nods. Yes. But now, I must survive. And I will protect anyone who helps me. Suddenly, a sound of footsteps approaches. The masked men are still looking for him. Daniel stands, ready. Hide behind these walls. Don't come out until I give the signal. Reed and his officers follow silently, hearts pounding. Daniel steps into the open, facing the approaching threat. His movements are precise, controlled. He is no longer the man they arrested. He is a warrior, a protector, someone who has faced death countless times. The masked men stop, unsure of what to do. Daniel does not hesitate. He moves quickly, striking with calculated precision, disabling one after another. Reed watches in awe as Daniel fights. Every move shows training, experience, and determination. Finally, the last attacker flees, running into the darkness. The courtyard falls silent. Daniel breathes heavily but stands tall. Reed approaches him, shaking his head in disbelief. You saved us all, Reed says. Daniel looks around at the exhausted officers. His voice is calm but firm. Remember this. The night is not over. They are still out there. But tonight, we survived, together. Reed nods, understanding for the first time that the man they arrested is not just a survivor, he is a protector, someone who has been hiding in plain sight all along. The night is quiet now, but the tension still hangs in the air. The masked attackers have fled, leaving only the faint sound of distant engines on the empty streets. Reed and his officers stand in the hidden courtyard, catching their breath, still in shock at what they just witnessed. Daniel leans against a wall, his calm face slowly returning. He brushes some dust off his jacket. The fight had drained him, but his eyes are sharp and alert. They are gone for now, he says quietly. But they will return if I make a mistake. Reed looks at him, his mind racing. Daniel, who are you really? Why are they after you? And, why did you save us? Daniel sighs softly, his shoulders relaxing for the first time. He sits down on a low stone wall, gesturing for the officers to gather around. I am not a criminal, he says calmly. I was part of a secret agency, a group that works in the shadows. We stop dangerous people before the world knows about them. But that life, it is not for everyone. I left years ago to live quietly, far away from all that. Reed's jaw tightens. So, all this time, you've been hiding? Daniel nods. Yes. I thought leaving would mean peace. But the people I left behind, they do not forgive. Once you are part of the organization, you either stay or you die. I chose to leave. And now, they want me back. Reed shakes his head. And all this, your arrest, the chaos tonight, it almost cost lives. Daniel looks down. I never wanted anyone hurt. That is why I stayed calm. I knew exactly what to do. The masked men, they are highly trained. They are not ordinary criminals. They would have killed anyone in their path if I had panicked. Reed studies him silently, finally understanding the truth. You saved us all. The man we thought was just a quiet stranger, he was the one protecting us the whole time. Daniel gives a small, sad smile. Sometimes, the person you doubt is the one standing between safety and disaster. The officers remain quiet, still processing what they have seen. Their fear and disbelief slowly turn into respect. The man they arrested, the one they judged without reason, is not only skilled but deeply moral. He fights not for glory, not for power, but to protect others. Suddenly, the sound of a helicopter cuts through the night sky. Bright searchlights sweep across the courtyard. Reed shields his eyes. Daniel stands, alert once more. "It's them," he whispers. "The agency sent a team. They know I'm here. They're coming to extract me safely." A black SUV arrives first, stopping in front of them. Armed men in tactical gear jump out, saluting Daniel with respect. One of them, a tall man with a stern expression, approaches Reed. "Officer Reed," he says, "thank you for keeping him safe." Reed blinks. "Safe? You mean, him? The man we arrested?" The agent nods. "Yes. Daniel Gray is one of the best we have. He left our agency to live peacefully. But the people after him, they are dangerous. Without his training and courage, your station could have been destroyed tonight." Daniel steps forward, nodding politely to the agent. "Thank you. But they are still out there. I need to make sure no one is in danger." Reed swallows hard. "And what happens now? Do you go back, or stay hidden?" Daniel looks at the officers one last time, his expression softening. "I cannot stay in one place for long. But I will always try to do what is right. Tonight, you were lucky." The extraction team gestures for Daniel to move. He turns to Reed and says quietly, almost as if sharing a secret, "Remember this, sometimes, the man who seems ordinary is the one carrying the extraordinary." Reed watches as Daniel walks calmly toward the black SUV. The officers part to let him through. For a brief moment, the quiet man who walked down the street carrying a small bag becomes a legend in their minds, a man of skill, courage, and unshakable calm. As the SUV drives away, the helicopter hovering above shines its light on the empty courtyard. The officers look at each other, silent. They understand now how wrong they were to judge Daniel without knowing him. Fear and anger give way to awe. Reed finally breaks the silence. "He saved our lives, and we didn't even know who he was." One of the younger officers nods. "I'll never look at people the same way again." Reed turns and whispers to himself, watching the distant lights of the helicopter disappear. "Some heroes walk quietly among us, unnoticed, unrecognized, until the world needs them." In the dark night, the streets are calm once again. But the story of Daniel Gray, the quiet man with kind eyes, will stay with them forever. A man arrested for no reason, who turned out to be the reason they all survived. And for Daniel, the night is not over. His life in the shadows continues, a life full of danger, courage, and sacrifice. But for now, he walks on, carrying the weight of his secrets, knowing he has protected the innocent once more.